Okay, so I'm going to try to quickly finish up my instructor example for project 3. When I left off last time, I just put this lens flare blur into the lettering so you can kind of see the motion blur from the lens flare that was placed in there. So I'm going to go back to my tutorial and see what my next step is. It says that I should be creating a new layer just above the asteroid group and manually make a few stars that are of varying sizes. Okay, so this is a layer that's adding, this is a step that's adding stars into the background, but like I already added an image of stars, so I'm just going to skip over this part. Give the stars inner and outer glow. Adding color to the asteroids and the moon. Okay, so they're adding a little bit of a blue hue to just drop the opacity of the layers to 50%. Let me see what this is doing. So I have these little steel pods in mine instead of asteroids, and it says to drop the opacity to 50%. I'm just going to do this to the entire layer. Okay, it's 50%. And then go to Layer, Layer Style, Color Overlay. Color Overlay. Okay, and then the color should be, it's doing, so it's going to use my, oh wait. Color Overlay, okay. So the color, I'm going to choose a blue from the background somewhere. Okay, and then change the blending mode to multiply, apparently. Multiply. Opacity to 30%. Okay. So I don't like how faded those become at 50%, so I'm just going to modify this a bit and bump it up to 80. And it says to do the same thing for the moon, which in my case is the Earth. So I'm going to, 50% is just too dim. So I'm going to do 80%, and then I'll do my color overlay. I'm going to say it almost 10% for that. I just didn't want it to do too much. Okay, this is just doing a little bit of blending on those items. Okay, and then it says the same thing for the moon layer, which for me is my earth layer, so I've got that. And it says adjusting the color of the entire poster. Let's enhance our entire scene's color by applying a couple of layer adjustments. Our goal for this step is to give the poster a more consistent color theme and also to help set up the mood for the piece. Okay, one sec. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so it says make sure the adjustments are the topmost layers, which I'm going to put it right under my vignette layer because I don't need to do any adjustments to the vignette layers. So I'm going to make an adjustment layer gradient map. So right here I can go to gradient map and drop this in. It's telling me to use this blue to yellow, like a blue to yellow gradient, and drop the adjustment layer down to about 20%. Okay, let's see, is there a different blue to yellow? There's purple to orange. I'll just pick a new one. And let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. I'm just going to do a yellow to blue like this has, okay. And a blue. I want to delete this stuff. How do I delete this? Oh, delete. How about that? Delete. Why are there so many in here? There we go. Okay, and I don't know, like, I don't know if this should be normal. I don't like that it's like hiding pixels at normal, so let's see what a different seeing what different blending modes might do for this layer. Okay, I'm going to do somewhat less a little bit less of an opacity. And it says afterwards go to layer, new adjustment layer, hue saturation to adjust hue and saturation. Okay. Let's see, I want to go more towards kind of the blue side of the spectrum, I think. And to be honest, I think that Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot, but it's some minor adjustment to kind of tie everything together. So we'll do that. My projectiles are looking still too dim to me. Let's bump those back up a little bit. Remove the stars from our planetary objects, which I think we've kind of done. I already masked those out in an earlier step. So I think what it's saying is that you shouldn't see stars in front of the objects in space, right? The stars should be hidden behind it and not on top of it. And I think that's the case here. So I've already hidden those. Okay, and then it looks like my final step is to add a high-pass filter. To enhance our post with a final effect, you may wish to save your document before continuing. Okay, I think you always save your document. Okay, so then this is telling me to flatten the image, but I can mimic flattening by selecting all the layers, duplicating them, and then flattening that. So the duplicated layers merge into one, and then I have one layer that's doing everything. That's the same as flattening almost. Now duplicate the flattened layer by pressing Control and Command J. Command J. Okay. So I'm going to call this flattened final image. And then this one is going to be high pass filter. Okay. Finally, change the blending mode of the duplicated layer to high pass. And soft light. Okay, so I need to do the high pass filter first. Filter. Where's my high pass filter? Other high pass. Okay. He said his is at about 15. This must just give it some more contrast. And if we change the blending mode to soft light, let's see what it does. So yeah, it just bumps up the contrast a little bit to make it feel a little more punchy. It's kind of good. I think I like it. Okay, so that's the final step. Let me go ahead and save my file. This only took me 15 minutes. Okay. So my final step, if I'm going to critique my own poster, overall this was a pretty good tutorial. It was neat. I think it applies, the hard part is this tutorial applies specifically to how the Earth would look, and so I was trying to keep mine a little bit more realistic with the lighting and stuff, and so mine ends up looking slightly differently, but I think I like it. I think, let's see, I'm going to duplicate these one more time, and I think what I'm going to do is merge those and just do a little bit of sharpening. Do an unsharp mask. That might be even just a little bit of over sharpening. I just want to reveal a little bit more detail. It felt just a little bit soft, so yeah, that's just right. And you probably can't even see the difference on video. It's very slight, but yeah, I think I'm liking it. Okay, well that's it. So I'm going to consider my professor example done. So if I look at this now from my perspective, looking at the file, I want to clean this up a little bit before turning it in. Now, I understand that all of these layers contributed to that final layer, right? So what you want to do is any of those layers that were not being used at the end, you want to, so I've got a copy of all my original files in here. I have all of my layers labeled, except for possibly this one, which was a highlight. Okay. I've got my projectiles layer. I have my earth layer, my text adjustment, then I had a vignette on top of all that. Okay. And then when I say this is a flattened final image, I understand that the layers underneath were flattened to achieve this image. And then I've got a high pass filter on top of that. And then final sharpening. Okay, so I had this group can be my high pass filter group. Okay, that shows me what the high pass filter did. Okay, and then this image is like just the final sharpening, which is almost nothing, but just enough. So it's kind of like the very last step. But I can tell by reading the layers down like what it took to put this image together. Okay, and that's kind of how your file should be organized too. So now I'm just, if I were a student, I'd be uploading this and submitting it to the URL submission. So that's it, even a day early, and only took me 15 minutes today. So I'll get this up on YouTube, and good luck with your projects.